To rescue the stranded Indian citizens in Israel, India has started Operation Ajay. Ajay means invincible. The name is associated with Lord Krishna, meaning the conqueror of life and death. What an apt name, given the current situation today in Israel and in Gaza. It is a fight for life and it is to evade death. Israel-Hamas war has entered into a week now and is only escalating, possibly turning into a multi-front war, specifically as Hezbollah in Lebanon, backed by Iran, have threatened to attack Israel from a different border. So how will Operation Ajay work? 18 to 20,000 Indians presently live and work in Israel. This is according to the External Affairs Ministry document. These are university students, professionals, and there is in fact a visible, strong Indian business community living in Israel. For those who wish to be evacuated, Indian government has kick-started this mission. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said special charter flights and other arrangements are being made for the safe return of Indians from Israel as well as from Palestine. The first batch of Indian citizens, basically those who had early on asked for evacuation already, have been registered and they have been informed via an email. More flights are likely to follow. If the need arises, Indian naval ships are also being deployed for the same. Listen now to senior Indian government officials as Operation Ajay begins.
Operation Ajay has been launched to facilitate the return from Israel of our citizens who wish to come back. The first charter flight will be reaching Tel Aviv later tonight to pick up Indian citizens and is likely to return to India tomorrow morning. We will share with you information about further flights as they are finalized. We're also in touch with our, of course, with our embassy in Tel Aviv, our representative office in Ramallah, as well as with our neighboring, the missions in our in the neighboring countries there.
The Ministry of External Affairs has set up a 24-hour control room for the purpose of keeping a close watch on the situation ongoing in Israel and in Palestine. Within Israel, in Tel Aviv, Indian Emergency Helpline has also been launched for those who are in need to connect via the embassy. So for your benefit, these are the phone numbers and email first for the MEA control room. For Tel Aviv's Indian Embassy, these are the contact details. And also for the India's representative office in Ramallah, these are the contact details for those who need it. Listen now to Kobi Shoshnani, the Consul General of Israel in Mumbai, on Israeli government assisting the Indian Embassy in Operation Ajay.
To assist the Indian Embassy in Tel Aviv in Operation Ajay. We look forward to welcome all of you back in Israel once we win the war against Hamas, ISIS terrorists.
Dr. S. Jaishankar has also spoken to UAE's foreign minister and discussed the ongoing crisis in West Asia and have agreed to stay in touch in case required for future. How is an evacuation planned? Planning an evacuation requires both diplomatic as well as military and logistical expertise. The coordination is 1. With the individuals who want to return to India, 2. With the country of conflict for a clear passage, and 3. With other countries also sometimes for airspace, ports, or to help organize shelter and a humanitarian corridor. This is how evacuation missions are organized. The first step is planning. The key here is communication with diplomats of other countries to keep the movement and schedules absolutely clear. Then there is a quick response team. As soon as evacuation is planned, military coordinators and other government officials reach the embassy of that country where the evacuation is set to take place. Details of officials at work is not done with fanfare, considering there are fears that could lead to a hostage situation. Then there are logistical arrangements. Logistics like airplanes, supplies, transported to the nearest friendly site. Evacuees are asked to arrive at the embassy. If reaching the embassy is not considered safe, a central safe location is chosen to congregate. Messages are circulated from where a bus or a transport is organized for them to be taken directly to the aircraft. For example, when the United Kingdom evacuated its citizens from conflict-torn Sudan, its aircrafts were already stationed 2 days prior in Cyprus, Akrotiri Airport. Even in Ukraine, I remember it was not easy for many people to directly reach the location. Therefore, there was a central location that was designated and buses were organized. And then comes the final step. And the final step here is to get out, which is the most difficult also. After all logistical arrangements are made, the next step is to gather evacuees and airlift them out of the red zone as soon as possible. India has enough experience of several decades under different governments to carry out successful operations of evacuation. 1990 Kuwait airlift, Recognized as largest air evacuation done, even as recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, Kuwait airlift was one of the first to bring Indians back from war that had struck Kuwait in the year 1990. A large Indian population lived as workers. Eventually, 176,000 Indians from Kuwait were brought back. So even now, as large-scale of aerial attacks from both sides add another risk factor in Israel, precautionary measures need to be taken as a lesson. Hamas had rained rockets on Israel's Ben Gurion airport also. Major international air carriers have suspended or restricted the number of flights to or from Tel Aviv. Russia has even banned night flights to Israel. One of the most complex evacuation procedures was 2020 Wuhan airlift. This was when the COVID pandemic had hit. Special buses had to be operated by the Chinese government assistance to ferrying Indian citizens from designated spots to the airport, where they boarded a 423-seater jumbo Boeing 747 airplane. 2 Air India flights evacuated over 650 passengers. This was to ensure maximum precaution. 5 doctors and medical staff were also present in the flight at the time. 2015 Operation Maitri. After the devastating 2015 earthquake in Nepal, a total of 5,000 Indian citizens were evacuated from Nepal after the earthquake and repeated jolts. The joint Indian Army and Indian Air Force operation also brought back 175 foreign nationals of US, UK, Russia and Germany too. 2021 Operation Devi Shakti. A total of 669 people were evacuated from Afghanistan when the Taliban had taken over. While initially mostly were Indian citizens evacuated, but even Afghan minorities like Hindus and Sikhs of Afghanistan, who were specifically on the target of the Islamist Taliban, were brought to India on special flights. 448 Indians, 246 Afghans were evacuated, and not just people. With due respect, brought into India were manuscripts of the Guru Granth Sahib, and then it was also received with a lot of respect by the minister himself. This was a difficult operation to conduct. Remember, the airport was under fire. Roads were witnessing bloodshed. Airport was packed with thousands of people who just wanted to flee en masse. These evacuations can only be possible because India's reputation has been seen as friendly with most nations, because Indians have maintained a cordial relationship and have contributed to that country's economy and society where they reside. As Operation Ajay begins, I hope that the war de-escalates. I hope conflicts are resolved, and I hope Israel and Palestine can find a solution to coexist. Because remember, nobody likes to leave their house that they have turned into a home, whether it's in India or Israel. Thank you for watching.